and learn about energy, learn about the vibrational fields that is around us, learn to engage with it, learn to work with it, so that we can bring that into our reality. The second thing that is happening, and this is in preparation to 2012, the second part is that we really have to open up our hearts. This separation, which is a part of the three-dimensional reality that you and I are separate, is no longer going to hold true. I have to accept that when we are talking energy and vibrations, that you and I are so intricately and so intimately connected that whatever you do or think is going to affect me and vice versa. So I have to take the responsibility of that.
And open up to having a completely new experience, thank God. And as that process, it really is a three-point process. And the first aspect of it is acknowledging, look, I have pain here. You know, there's someone in my life who I love so dearly and they're dying. Or there's challenges going over on the other side of the world, and how do I make that right in my head? And so when we acknowledge the places of pain and perhaps recognize with what is it that is touching me, where are those places of pain? Not denying them, not pretending they aren't there, but this first process is really about acknowledging what is going on in my life. And that acknowledgement is certainly a part of bringing healing to it. And that brings us to the second step. And the second step is really about allowing ourselves to connect with compassion. Being able to connect with that we can accept, open up to a place of understanding. And when we can really get our arms around the aspect of not making our feelings wrong, because our feelings, thank God, aren't the truth of who we are, but they're indicators of what's going on in our life. Where are the triggers? Where's the pain? Where's the suffering? And when you can truly acknowledge, oh look, I'm in pain regarding this loved one's transition, this loved one's dying. I'm in pain regarding feeling rejected in this relationship. I'm in pain regarding not being able to find in my work, you know, all of a sudden the job that I thought defined me isn't there. And the feelings of lack of self-esteem and self-worth and all of these doubts and things that question. When we can truly recognize a feeling of, I don't feel safe, just through the process of acknowledgement and letting go of even finding out what the answer is or what the solution is, but really bringing a place of compassion and understanding to it. It's just like if a child hurts themselves. You don't need to have the mental explanation of their boo-boo on their knee or their elbow. You get to just bring a place of compassion. Oh, I'm so sorry.
So that if there is a conflict out there in the world, it means that it is a reflection of a conflict that is going on in my heart over here. So the second part is learning to open up my heart center and learning to live through the heart opening. And 2010 becomes a time when we really have to learn to move towards this opening of the fourth, the center,
and
the heart center.
in that acceptance, that allows us to shift into the third process. The third process is about letting go of the pain, letting go of the struggle, knowing that at certain times we hold on to things so tightly, and in that holding on to what the form should look like, whether or not this person should live or die, whether or not I should still have that job, or whether or not those individuals should respect me. It's about stripping away all of our stories that are no longer working. How do we know they're not working? Well, if we're experiencing pain and struggle, I can guarantee you there's a story in there that we're holding on to that's not true.
And in those meaningful connections, as there is in gauze, when those filaments come together, those gold or those cotton strands, when these filaments of light, these meaningful connections come together, they create a window, an opening, through which vast wisdom of the universe can come through. New energies can come in. New possibilities that before we cannot see, we can't imagine. It's like a thin place, the Celtic people call it. A doorway between the worlds opens when we offer ourselves to these connection places. What I believe was the way the universe revealed to me the oneness, the place where we're all connected, the place where possibility lives, the place beyond suffering, the place of transformation of suffering. There are places everywhere in the world that can bring a buoyancy, a higher energy of transformation to suffering. I think we're those chapels. So how do we get ourselves there? To that beautiful place of such higher love that it's beyond heart opening, really. You know, how do we bring a buoyancy? And we do, and we can.
Right now, there is something, though, that if you look behind that scene that we're so used to and we get so caught up into, and if you look behind it, there's a little flashlight going on behind stage that kind of catches your attention. You know, shadows of new players. But it's beginning to attract your attention because the old play is so worn out, so does not serve what is needed so deep inside. So to be aware, like connecting to that higher power or that something or other that's greater than our everyday activities, requires us to pay attention behind the scenery for something that is shining a light.
You're so busy looking out there to the future, wondering what it's going to bring, fearing the future, hoping that the future will solve everything for you, so that when 2012 comes, your problems will vanish.
And when we live in that negative, what I call below the belt mentality, afraid of everything and not willing to look at the new things that are out here for us, we bring it to ourselves more and more. And it takes a little work to practice the new way, to think differently, to keep ourselves in that mental space where, like a lot of things I've noticed, we'll think we did a whoops of something, and I can't think of a good illustration right now, but it happens to all of us repeatedly. But what happens is the whoops isn't really a whoops. It turns out to be the very best thing that could have happened at that time. And so, you know, I just think if we can get our mindset straight, we can have a lot more smooth roads than we ever dreamed of.